Speaking of the Trump administration, there's been talks for a while now in conservative movements about getting rid of the Department of Education, to which a bunch of the libs are screaming about of, oh no, this is terrible. But the Trump administration is talking about getting rid of the Department of Education. Government schools have been failing upwards of for the last several decades. The numbers about homeschoolers are coming out, and over the last several years, obviously, COVID played a big factor in that, but have been rising consistently up to the expected 2024 numbers are going to be about 3.7 million students. School-age students are likely to be homeschooled in the country. 72% of people who say they're homeschooling the kids are dissatisfied with the academic instruction in traditional schools. 75% want to provide more moral instruction. Alex, what does it look like over the next, decade of parents who are choosing to homeschool their kids instead of entrust them into the government woke schools?
Well, first of all, I hope we start seeing, really, really smart kids kind of taking jobs and having a better sense of independence and grasp on adulthood. What we've seen in this last generation are kids who are terrified to start driving as teenagers. They don't want to move out of their parents' house. It's just this weird, like Peter Pan syndrome, never growing up that we're seeing from today's young people. This has got to stop. This country cannot survive if that's what's going on. And I would say, as far as the learning environment that we've kind of cultivated over the years in American public schools, if you were to take a plant and put it in the same environment that we are expecting kids to thrive and learn in a public school setting, that plant would die. Hardly any sunlight, no nutrient dense foods or water. The tap water that we're letting them get out of the water fountains there, filled with arsenic and birth control and fluoride. It's absolutely horrific, the conditions that and we're putting kids in, and then we're saying, like, okay, now you need to perform. And also, as a child, it doesn't come naturally to you to sit 6 or 7 hours a day straight and not talk and not move. But, like, God forbid you can't do any of that. And if you do, then we're going to put you on a bunch of prescription drugs that's going to start a lifelong treadmill of drug prescriptions for you and start getting you medicalized at a younger and younger age. So it's really disturbing. And the thing is that all of these people that are pooping their pants and crying about the Department of Education being defunded, I'm sorry, but has it really been successful? Half of American students cannot read. So they can't read, they can't write. The academic mathematics scores are plummeting. So these kids are not learning. I mean, the data shows that they're not learning. So what are they doing in there all day? Basically, they're just sitting there and being told to be quiet, and their behavior is they're trying to correct their behavior. We have to get back to a country where we're allowing kids to be kids. Kids, especially very, very young kids, learn when they're playing. They need to be outside. They need to be eating real food. They need to be getting sunlight. They need to stay off screens that are melting their brains and making it so they cannot focus on anything. We've got iPad brain rot through the roof. So there's a lot of things that are working against American kids. I really, really feel strongly that if more parents, and I think a lot of parents would be really open to homeschooling, Jobob, but the problem is that it's been kind of indoctrinated into American parents that it's really hard to do, or you have to have a certain level of education to do it yourself, or that you have to be a stay-at-home parent in order to do it. There are so many groups that exist right now in homeschool co-ops and things that are literally helping parents who are single parents homeschool, who are both working parents, who are poor. The average homeschooling family is making, I believe it's under $60,000 a year. This idea
Whoa.
that you have to be like rich and wealthy and a stay-at-home mom, that's just absolutely not true. You can do it. And the cool thing about homeschool is because it's not supposed to mimic school at home. You're supposed to be able to create your own schedule and kind of go with the flow of your child and their interests. So you can make your schedule as, intense as you want, or only 2 hours a day. Really, your kid's only learning about 2 hours a day anyway. And then the rest can
Yeah.
be spent exploring and doing things as a family. And they're learning in those situations.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on pretty much all of that. Just to statistically, despite concerns, 87% of studies suggest that positive social outcomes for homeschool kids, as well as 98% of them find at least 5 extracurricular activities. So that whole notion slash stigma seems to be put to bed pretty quickly, especially when you factor in all the statistics. Alex Clark, host of Culture Apothecary. Check it out wherever. Alex, really appreciate you taking the time to come on.
Thank you so much. Hey, anytime you want to talk homeschool or raw milk or anything, just come listen to my show, and that's all we talk about.
Awesome. Alex, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.